好，配对，我们回来到 Duomo， 小培根跟 Megan 他们中午先休息一下。那趁他们休息，我现在可以上一个导览。Hello.
Hello. Your name, please?
Pierre Lou.
Pierre Lou. Yes, you're with me. Welcome,
Perfect.
Pierre.
Awesome.
Where are you from?
Taiwan.
Taiwan. Okay, so
Thank you.
Texas 1, Texas 2, Taiwan, and Wisconsin/Arkansas. Okay, so far.
超级观光客。对，结果完全不能录，但我觉得没关系，因为至少我现在知道这些资讯，回去可以跟 Megan 分享一下，当然也会跟你们分享。
Tomorrow.
Alright, Megan， 今天我要当你的导游，好不好？
好 so ready. Let's see what you remember. A test for you.
I remember everything. Ha 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 ha.
Okay.
I think you know already, but the Duomo was completed in 600 years, so it took them a while. It's made of white marble, right?
Yes.
Every 100 to 150.
He's gonna have to get down and walk around. Every 100 to 150.
Every 100 to 150 years, this white marble needs to be completely replaced.
Oh.
So nothing is original at all.
What the heck?
Yeah.
That's so malleable.
I know. It's more malleable, so it's easier to carve out things from it. But that also means that it's easier to deteriorate. 哦，对，今天的导览是全英文，所以也可以练习一下你们的英文听力。这边也有字幕，感谢 Cedric. So, as I said, outside, everything's completely replaced, right? Inside, a lot of it is replaced as well, but there are some that are not as new. All right, so let's go towards the middle first, Megan. So the theme is forest, basically.
Forest?
Yeah, so if you look at the columns here, they resemble tree trunks. And then at the very top, if you could see, those are like branches. And then at the bottom, right here on the ground, the marble floor, this is resembled as flowers on the ground. Underneath, it's roots, but we're not going down there. One of the most interesting, if you look up top there, see how there's a red light with a cross? That's apparently one of the original nails onto Jesus. Apparently. I'm skeptical too. He's skeptical too.
He's excited.
So our tour guide told us, I don't know if I believe that. And so,
Tour guide even said it?
yeah, because I don't think she's Catholic. But basically once every year, they take out the nail for the public to see. When do you think they take the nail out for people to see?
I don't think Easter.
Okay, most people would guess Easter.
Does it have something to do with the cross? Like a cross holiday?
Oh yeah, so when's that?
Like Holy Cross holiday?
Yeah, so when's Holy Cross?
Is that like in September?
September.
Is that like around September 14th?
Wait, how do you know? You're Catholic. You're so Catholic. So it was always September 14th, but in the modern era now, it's September 14th and then on that weekend. As I said, so a lot of these are basically like all replaced, right? Obviously the nail is not replaced, that's
just the new.
Original nail. I mean, regardless, it's a nail from like that decade, so it's crazy. Do you notice how the floors are uneven? There you go. So this is the oldest part of the church. If you can tell, white marble, it's dug in more.
Yeah.
Black and red marble are not as dug in. And so that's when you can like feel the divots and stuff. If I use my eyes, I can even see like the divots and stuff, right? So if we look top, you're saying these are the biggest Alp windows in the world. So this cathedral is number 4 in the world in terms of size. Vatican is the biggest one.
Okay.
Sagrada Familia is actually bigger, but the reason why it's not ranked is because it's not finished. I know. So you see how there's 3 stained glass windows, right? So can you guess what they are?
This one looks like it's about Jesus' birth.
Okay. Which would be in the
New Testament.
Okay, New Testament. Okay.
So I'm gonna assume what's the Old Testament.
Okay, Old Testament, yeah. And the last one, the Apocalypse. So the left is the Old Testament, the right is the New Testament, and the middle is the Apocalypse. The reason why they made these was because back then a lot of people were illiterate. They couldn't read. And so the only way to tell them the stories were through these pictures, these stained glass windows. And so the way to read this is from left to right, bottom to top. Right there in the New Testament, it's Joseph and Mary about to get married, and the angel
came down. It's like,
angel came down,
you're pregnant.
and then Jesus Christ born. You see all that, yeah. If we stand on that side, we'll be able to see the Old Testament. So you see this right here? Can you tell where it is?
And then he was going back on.
Yes. So this is the oldest part of the wall, right? When it was starting to be built, they put that there to basically show like, hey guys, all your money that you spent in this church that we built. I know you can't see anything, it's just walls. But see, we have this.
We have this one thing.
To show you that, hey, we're not giving the money to the church, we're giving it to the building of this cathedral. So it's just to show the people who paid. It's not going into the pockets.
Yeah.
Okay, right here. So this next thing, you see him?
Yeah.
This is the guy.
Yeah.
So
Bartholomew?
yes, Bartholomew, exactly. So he was skinned. And so that robe around him is not a robe, it's a skin. You can tell it's a skin because if you go around the back of his left shoulder, his face right there. Back then, he was a martyr.
Yeah.
In real life, they skinned him and they beheaded him. So you could tell that there's a cut on his neck. The guy that made this, because he learned from Da Vinci basically. And so he had all these like anatomically correct parts and stuff.
So I'm saying, like the detailing of that is
Crazy, right?
disgusting.
But you think like, oh, he's so strong. He's not strong, man. He's just skinned. So this guy's name is Vito Alfredo. This pope was the pope during World War II. The reason why he's important is because back then, Italy was with the Nazis, right? Because of Mussolini. At the time, the Allies were just bombing everything. We were trying to bomb all the cathedrals. However, he was able to come with a silent agreement with the Allies, telling them, hey, don't bomb the Duomo. It's really important for history. And so the Allies never bombed the Duomo. The last two things I want to show you. Do you know what it is?
Yes, it's the Duomo with the Madonna above,
And
protecting the Duomo.
this is the logo for the company that built the Duomo
Got it.
and maintains the Duomo. They are never going to go poor because they literally built one of the biggest cathedrals in the world. Every 100 to 150 years, however long, they have to replace everything. So they will always have a job in one of the most Catholic countries in the entire world. And their logo is literally Madonna over the Duomo. That means that their only job
They are the Duomo.
is to maintain the Duomo. Last thing I want to show you, Megan, is this.
With all the donors?
So these are all the bishops. So if you can see, all of them have start dates and death dates. Can you guess why the last two don't have a death date?
Because they're not dead?
No, they're both dead. Because if you look at 142, that guy, towards the last 10 years of his life, he was pretty much in the hospital all the time. And so the guy after him was like, all right, hey, so I think we should do like a limit on like how long we could actually be in charge of the cathedral. And that guy was in charge until 2012. The other guy,
Started over in
Leonigi
2002.
in 02, yeah. And then the next guy, 2011. If you do it up until the end of someone's life, by the last 5 to 10 years, they're pretty much not as capable. Can you tell that there's something else? Can you see something in common?
A lot of people
something
from
in common?
Milan, and then they started writing cardinal
There you go.
afterwards.
So after a certain time,
Oh, that guy became
they
Pope.
were required to be a cardinal in order to be in charge of the cathedral. However, again, women can't be cardinals, women can't be bishops. And then like some of them afterwards became pope and stuff. So that concludes the end of the tour that I thought was interesting. Did you like it? Am I the tour guide?
Yes.
我是超级棒的 tour guide.
Here.
What's up?
Here's your tip.
Oh, tip. Yeah. Oh. 其实说实话啊，因为昨天不能录，我是可以好好的记下来我觉得有趣的地方，然后又再回来可以带小培根跟 Megan 来，但小培根好像没有兴趣，可能还是要等他大一点。好，我们继续在 Duomo 旁边就是 Gallery was dedicated to the first king of unified Italy. The first king of unified Italy is right there, that guy on the statue.
That guy.
Right? So we go inside. So this part of the tour is the gallery, basically.
Is you buying me a Louis Vuitton bag?
So if you look at the very top, that's
At
where the super
Louis
rich live.
Vuitton? Oh,
Like
yeah.
those are super rich apartments. And then if you look at these, there are actually crusts. You see this crust right here?
Oh yeah, down at the bottom. Okay.
And then there's another crust over there. So these crusts are different cities of Italy. So the southern crust is of Rome, the eastern crust is Florence, the northern crust up there is Milan, and the western crust, which is the most interesting one, is from Turin. This middle crust right here is the royal family during the unification of Italy. So that's their crust. So I don't know if you could tell why the western crust is most interesting.
Why are they destroying its balls?
So yeah, exactly. So there's a story about it. What you do here is you put your
Destroy their
heel
ball?
on the ox's testicles. So you go counterclockwise to help with infertility.
To help with infertility.
Help with infertility.
People
so
don't want
to help
babies?
you, no, help with your infertility. So to
okay.
help you get fertile.
Oh, okay.
好，所以大家如果想要好运的话呢，在这边要顺时钟3次，你的右脚，然后是脚跟，那逆时钟就是帮你可以有宝宝。Good luck. 看你自己，你也是吗？你也是对不对？好，所以大家一定要来 Gallery 的 西边牛的睾丸那边3次哦。Tour guide said good luck works because this right here is the original Prada store. Original, first ever. And
So you're gonna buy me a Prada
they've
bag?
been lucky ever since. And so like people here 3 times clockwise.
And then go buy a Prada bag?
For
their
yeah,
wives?
yeah, exactly. 好的，陪我们的历史 official tour 是结束。好奇问一下，你们对这种历史的部分有兴趣吗？可以留言，然后按个喜欢。也许在每一个城市，我一样可以参加这些导览，然后到时候就直接跟你们分享。我专门买这个票就是为了去看 Last Supper。那普通票 Last Supper 是15块欧元，但是如果想要导览的话，就是100块欧元。其实 Last Supper 的票它会开放给大家。但是这种公司会一开始就全部先卖好，只好要参加这些导览才可以去看 Last Supper， 所以我觉得啊 ，so sad。其实我有问 Megan 要不要去，但是 What did you say?
I don't want to walk for 3 hours.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I didn't save anything about the Last Supper. 我只有用简单的拍照，然后一些小小的动态。But when I went inside, it really looked like it was 3D. My guess it's because of the lighting. Some of the painted areas are brighter and some are not as bright.
Yeah.
So that's why it looks like one is behind or in front of another one. I think the most interesting thing is because this king invited Da Vinci to come and paint it, right?
Yeah.
However, if you look at the painting, it doesn't really make sense because when you look at it, the painting's so big and you're so low and you're looking up, technically you shouldn't be able to see behind them and you shouldn't be able to see the top of the table, right? But this painting was for the king and the king will always be on top looking down. So when you look down, you could see behind the people, you could see the window, you could see what's on the table and stuff. Yeah, it's because the king asked Da Vinci, hey, can you paint a picture of the Last Supper as if I can actually be there, like it feels like I'm actually there. So it took Da Vinci a long time to paint because he used like very old style of painting that basically would deteriorate in 100 to 200 years. But Da Vinci was like, I don't care. The king's not gonna live past 100 years. So let me just make something that has more detail and won't need to last as long. That's okay.
How have they preserved it for so long? Not letting people
Through
mess
their
with
preservation techniques. No, it was literally bombed before. When they were trying to like preserve it, they just painted over it, so it was just all fake. And so in the 70s, this girl was like, all right, let me get rid of all this fake and then actually preserve it using technology now.
Got it.
And so when you look at it, it's not as detailed as it was a couple hundred years ago, but it's the original, basically. I don't know exactly how they added it, but they added it in a way that it is considered original. I think the last thing that I think was interesting was that for the faces, they used people that were close to the king.
So it's like his friends.
Yeah, and so people who wanted to be in the picture as just like a face and stuff. No one wanted to be Judas because he stabbed Jesus in the back, right?
Yeah.
However, he still needed a face.
Yeah.
And so the legend goes is that the person that was in charge of that church was so annoyed at Da Vinci because the king basically gave Da Vinci access. Whenever he wanted to go inside of the church, Da Vinci can go.
Yeah.
And the bishop was like, wait, hold up, like,
why?
You can come in anytime you want. You're not even doing anything. Da Vinci, you're lazy, complaining to all these things. And Da Vinci's like, you know what? I think for Judas, I found my face. It's gonna be your face. Ever since then, no one bothered him. No one was like, okay, Da Vinci, all right. You finish your painting. Just don't paint me as Judas, please. But that's the legend. That was a legend. Yeah.
That's funny.
So that's the Last Supper that I thought was interesting. 有趣吗？是不是有趣？ Oh, the worst part. In that room now, the only preserved paintings are one by Da Vinci, which is on one wall, and then another wall in the back by this other painter that did it looks great. It did a really good job, but no one looks at it. No one.
Did you take a picture?
I did.
Okay, good. Oh, dang.
And so like everyone's just looking at Last Supper, but behind them it's like, oh, like,
That's
you know,
a really
like
nice painting.
no one's gonna remember the second greatest. So like in YouTube, right? Taiwan YouTubers, right? There's Di Mei, right? Who's gonna remember Adi? No one's gonna remember Adi.
He's so
okay?
mean.
Di Mei 就是 Last Supper. Adi 就是后面那个那幅画。
We really like Adi now because he gave me Xbox.
Oh, sorry.
He gave me the PlayStation 5,
好。
and they gave me Harry Potter Legacy.
Okay, 好。
So we like
Adi 是 Last Supper， 然后后面是
Liu Pei.
No, what the That's true. Who's gonna remember Liu Pei?